We are at the conclusion of this female hairline lowering procedure for a lady that's had a brow lift in the past, facelift, as well as just recession from aging. She's also had an attempt at a previous transplant. She's had, if you look, there's maybe like 10 grafts over here from an FUE procedure that didn't work for her, performed elsewhere, and maybe about 10 grafts over here. I barely can spot them, but obviously didn't do anything for her. This is close to 3,000 grafts. What I would generally put into an entire male head, I have put into just the hairline and really dense pack this. A few things I want you to take a look at is, first look at the hairline. It's very natural. It's not too zigzaggedy here, but just enough to make it look natural. You don't want it too straight and too zigzaggedy. There's a couple of these other small hairs that are sticking in front of it. You don't see the hair, but the sites. And those little sites are called sentinel hairs, and they just continue to soften the way the hair looks. The other thing that's important is when you look at nature, there are no abrupt angles. So if you look, these hairs go this way and they start to curve this way, they start to curve this way, they start to curve this way, and these join going across this way and then back down. So that's very important. And then if you also take a look, I'm going to take you back this way, this side. This side, she had a much more empty area due to scar tissue, as well as this is where she parts the hair all the way back to the back of the crown. So this side only goes to about here, whereas this goes all the way back here. The reason I want to emphasize this is that with female hairline design and female hair loss design, you really want to be able to strategize. If you take 3,000 grafts and scatter it all over the place, the effect may not be as powerful. Now, of course, this area looks a little thinner because her hair is wet, but of course, there is a little thinness there. There's not much need to put grafts there. Of course, in the future, she could always come back and add more there. But once we've got this really nice feminine frame for her, she should look really quite dense, and this should look just absolutely wonderful. As a point, I've mentioned this in some of my videos too, is that I really don't find a need for FUE, which has really been overmarketed, even though I've written literally the only textbook in the world on FUE, and I'm writing currently the only second volume, 2-volume set on FUE, so I'm very passionate about that technique. However, for women, the problem is to get the best hair from the back of the head requires, in my opinion, not always, I can't always be absolute in every comment, but in the back of the head, that sweet spot where the grafts are the densest, an FUT or strip procedure gives me the best result for that. Also, the fact that there was a study that showed that a woman actually felt gentleman that did a half FUE on one side, half FUT on the other side, or strip procedure. There was no real visible difference, but the gentleman felt it was thinner on the side with the FUE harvesting, because you have to harvest over wide areas. So women, of course, want a thicker, palpable feeling, and plus, women don't want to shave the back of their head. The nice thing with this is that by doing this, she's not going to, the strip, she's not going to even see the line a day after the procedure, even when she leaves today. So this is just showing and navigating this. I actually want to make one more comment, which is, for younger women that are born with a high hairline, there's two alternative methods to lower the hairline. One is doing this technique of a hair transplant. The other technique is doing a surgical advancement. The reason I prefer this in the majority of cases is this area here, this entire temporal region, which is oftentimes involved to create that beautiful feminine hairline, that it's absent even in a congenital high hairline. When you're doing an advancement, you're only getting that middle third right here advanced. You're not really getting that advanced. Plus, I have noticed, which is very interesting in young women that have high hairlines, is that they have thinness going all the way into their hairline. And there's just no way that you can really blend that in using an advancement procedure. So this is just a quick narration talking about how I designed this female hairline. I wanted to make one more comment, is that I did all of this with 4.5 magnification, both for the harvesting of the grafts as well as for the site design. That's why this is so densely packed, and this is already magnified at 2x visibility. The other thing I noticed was I had some holes in my design, because at the end of the procedure, I come back with 2.5x magnification to look for any flaws in the design pattern. So I don't know if you noticed that, but I came back and did that. I just shot the video before I actually did my final survey.